Hey, it's Johara. Welcome back to my channel, To The Witchy Reader. So I know I'm doing this tag late. I usually do it in about June, but I know a lot of people also do it in July, and I'm very late with it. But oh well, it's the mid-year freakout tag. So as usual, I will be just answering these questions about my favorite books or whatever I've read so far this year. I have the questions on my phone. Okay, let's see. Question number one is best book you've read so far. I think there's a couple. I'm gonna go with uh, Malediction. As I mentioned, this became one of my favorite books ever. I absolutely loved this book. I loved the main characters, Scarlet and Eli, and their relationship. And I loved the magic and the ritual, and there were some amazing scenes when Scarlet went off on her uncle, and some amazing scenes where Eli went off on his family. And like I said, I love these two characters with my whole heart, and I am so excited for book 3 whenever that comes out. So yeah, and I also loved this series. This is book 3. I have book 1 out there somewhere. I have books 2 and 3 over there. Did I say this is book 3? I meant this is book 4. And this was the easiest to grab, so I just went and grabbed it. But it's Warriors of Bria. It is, I also have an amazing series. I just finished book 4. Book 5 is not out yet, but I loved it. I love the main characters in here. There's a lot more main characters. In the first book, it was just Lauren and Val, but each book has given us a little bit more point of views. I know the second book we got Val Laura's point of view. Third one we got Vaden's point of view. Is that it? Is it just the 4 of them? I think it might be. So yeah. Uh, but I absolutely love it. I love Lauren and Val as characters and their relationship. I also love Vaden and Laura. So I am excited for when book 5 comes out. So yeah, I'd say those are my favorites so far. Though there are some books I'm very, 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 very excited for that I think will become a favorite, and so that I'm going to read this month. Oh wait, there is one more. I do not have the physical copy, um, because he sent it to me through an art copy. I was looking at my physical books when I was trying to find answers for these, but it is the Mensis variant. That was also an amazing book. I'm about to actually, after this video, I filmed this video, I'm about to read book 2, and I'm very excited. I have the art copies for book 2 and 3 as well, and I'm going to be better reading his 4th book next month. So I'm so excited because I absolutely loved his first book. I loved the 3 main characters, and I loved the story and the goriness because it is horror. And as you guys know, I don't, even though I love watching horror, which you may or may not know because I don't really talk about TV related things on this channel, but I love watching horror. Okay, some of my favorite movies are horror. Like I absolutely love Scream and Nightmare on Elm Street, Hansel Gretel Witch Hunter, Truth or Dare, Ouija. Um, my mind's going blank now, but there's just a lot that I love. And but then there's but then when it comes to reading, I mostly read fantasy. But um, this book sounded interesting, and it's not fantasy, but there is some like superpowers, but it's not really fantasy. It's more like superheroes, people who just have these powers, and absolutely love the characters and their relationships. I love that it doesn't focus too much on romance. Like there is some, but it's like very much little, and it's mostly about the found family, which found family is, as you know, my favorite trope. Um, and I absolutely love found family, and I absolutely love these characters and how they're all different, but and have different backgrounds, but they all came together and are so supportive of each other and try to do everything for each other. I'm still upset that my favorite character died, but I'm not gonna get over that anytime soon. I think that might have become one of my, like, I have like, I don't actually have a list. I just have like a handful of characters that their deaths just absolutely destroyed me because whether or not it was just really sad or I just really love that character so much or both. Or sometimes it's the way they die. It's a factor of a few things. But this death has definitely affected me, and it's probably one of the saddest deaths I've ever read, up there with Fred and Lupin from Harry Potter and Udrak from Seekers. Anyone who knows me knows that those are my two favorite series. It's probably also up there with Matthias from Six of Crows because that's also one of my favorite series of all time. So those three deaths absolutely. Oh, and David from King of Scars because I absolutely loved him as well. So yeah, I think. And then those are the only four I can think of off the top of my head. So uh, this one character, I don't want to spoil anything, is probably in my top 5 of saddest character deaths ever. And it's really hard to get that high up on my list because I've read a lot of amazing books and a lot of these character deaths have affected me. But this character is probably up on the top 5 saddest deaths I've ever read, and it's affected me, and now I'm sad. But I'm going to read book 2 despite the fact that my favorite character was killed off. Um, but yeah, so I got a little off topic. Oh well. But yeah, I say I'm probably mostly gonna be talking about indie books this video because I'm reading nothing but indie books at the moment. Um, so I just came back. I had to, um, and while I was out, I had to grab another book that's not actually an indie book, but it is one of my favorite books of the year, just because it's by my favorite author, and I absolutely loved the story, and I'm so excited for book 2. Um, books 2 and 3 are out. I just can't get them right now. So yeah, but while I was out, I decided to go ahead and grab book 1 in the Warriors of Bria since I was talking about it, and then you can get a look at what book 1 looks like. So yeah, um, but this is the other book that I absolutely loved. I can't pick one favorite. Okay, there's too many I love, but I say these are the 4 that really stuck with me so far. But yeah, so I absolutely loved it. Um, It's by my favorite author, the author of Seekers. None of you should be surprised because anyone who knows me knows how much I'm obsessed with Seekers. I mean, before I changed my name to The Witchy Reader, my name was Seeker Books, as like because of Seekers, because I love Seekers, and it's up there with Harry Potter, and everyone who knows me knows I love Harry Potter too. So when I found out about this new series and that it was about pandas, because I love bears, and Seekers doesn't have any pandas, it has just other types of bears, and I got so excited and I absolutely loved it. So, um, and then, okay, so now I have to go to question 2. Question 2 is best sequel you've read so far. So I'm probably gonna go with this one, another indie book. Is anyone surprised at this point? um, I think I read this early in the year. Um, I actually started last year, I think, at the end of last year, but so much was going on that I it made me not be able to start it right away. And then when I just started, like I said, so much was going on in my life. The end of last year was just completely crappy and awful. So I don't think I actually finally read it until the beginning of this year. So um, but it's the third book in this series, and it follows the main characters from book 1, Astra and Luca, who was not in book 2 at all. It followed different book 2 followed different characters, and I was so excited to get back to Astra and Luca because they are my favorite characters. As much as I love the characters from book 2, Astra and Luca are my favorite characters, and I love their relationship. So I was so excited to get back into them and find out what happened after the cliffhanger of book 1. Since they weren't in book 2, we couldn't find out about that cliffhanger until this book, and it was just so good. I absolutely loved it. Um, and yeah, so I was so happy to find out that to finally see what happened, and like I loved Asher and Lugo's development in this book and how close they are. And there's this one scene that I absolutely love where Lugo was so sword fighting with someone. It was like he was doing it because they were kind of prisoners, so he had made a bet with one of their captors that um, if he wins the sword fight, then Astra, who's really sick, gets to ride on the horse and be able to, possibly not die, and she can get better care. And yeah, I just love how he was risking everything for her, and yeah, so I absolutely loved it. Um, Question 3 is new release you haven't read yet but want to. Um, Let me think. Well, there's books 2 and 3. But I don't have no idea when book 2 came out. I just got book 1 last December. I didn't read it until this year though, but I got it last December for my birthday. Um, a friend sent me some money, and I was able to get like 4 books with that money on thrift books, and I had to make sure I get that book. So, but I do know that book 3 came out this year. Um, so I'm very excited for that as well as book 2, and I know there's one book I'm really excited for that I plan to read this month. Besides the art copies I have, I already mentioned books 2 and 3 of the Mets variant, and then there's also King's Rise. I have an art copy of that that I'm really excited for. But I don't know if it came out this year or not. But that's B. I'm really excited for that, so I'm going to be reading it. I'm just like so. Sometimes I can predict like if I'm extremely excited for something, or just if it seems like something I might like, I can be like, oh, this is probably gonna become a favorite. It doesn't happen very often because not every book can become a favorite, obviously, and but I did predict it with Malediction. I was like, this book's gonna become a favorite just because I love witches and stuff like that, and it was everything I love. So I was like, yeah, it's gonna become a favorite, and I have a feeling B will become a favorite too. I'm just so excited for it and everything I've heard about it and the characters and stuff. And I know the author; she's better reading my novellas I've been writing and publishing, and she's also very supportive. She retweets a lot of my things. I retweet a lot of her things, and she's definitely, I'd say, one of the closest people I've met through Twitter at the moment. And I'm so happy I've met her. She's so sweet and kind, and I'm so excited to read this book because I just heard great things about it, and it just sounds so interesting. And I cannot express how excited I am to get to it. And like I said, I do plan to read it this month. And my indie reading vlog will come out probably next month, early next month, hopefully. And so you'll get a little bit of that. Plus, I plan to do a review of it like I have been doing every indie book. So look out for that. I definitely am excited for this one. Okay, let's see. Question 4: most anticipated release for the second half of the year. I'm trying to think. Well, if I'm correct and this becomes a favorite, then I'm going to be extra excited for book 2, which comes out on November 20th, I want to say. It's called An Impossible Dream. And I've been seeing some snippets of it, of hers, and it just seems really interesting. And I'm very excited for it after I read this one, obviously, and once it comes out. Hopefully, I'll be able to get it. I mean, I should have a job by then, so hopefully, I'll be able to buy it. And if I can't buy it at the moment, because we'll be trying to save up to get house as well, then at least I'll be able to get it on KU and read it if it's on KU. But I will eventually buy the physical copy anyways, because I just prefer physical copies. Even the books I'm currently reading on KU, so that I can read them, even though I can't buy them yet, I probably will eventually buy it because I just prefer owning the physical copy. But yeah, I'm excited for An Impossible Dream. I'm trying to think. I know I haven't read book 4 yet or the prequel because I haven't been able to get them and they're not on KU sadly. Um, but I know book 5 is, I think, done, maybe being edited. I don't know if it's coming out this year though. And I'm also excited for book 3, but I don't think that's coming out this year. And I don't think, and I'm positive that book 5 for the Warriors Bree isn't coming out yet either. So yeah, An Impossible Dream is probably my most anticipated release at the moment. But yeah, I'm very excited for it. Book 5, biggest disappointment. Thing is, I don't read outside of my comfort zone very often. It's like I see a book, it seems like it's right up my alley, and I most of the time I end up liking it, which also makes it whenever I don't like it that much more disappointing because I'm like, but I was so sure I'm going to like it because I only pick up books I'm sure I'm going to like, and most of the time I'm not disappointed. And I don't think I've read anything this year that I just did not like. Hmm. So yeah, I guess I don't have a disappointment. Um, Question 6, biggest surprise. What would be my biggest surprise? I have to go grab another book. Cause my biggest surprise, I can't speak. My biggest surprise was probably Squeak. This isn't exactly what I usually read, but the author sent it to me. If I remember correctly, to thank me for my support because I would like constantly support her and retweet her stuff and stuff. So she sent me the copy, which I was not expecting, um, and uh, yeah, she even autographed it, which I think this is my first autographed book, so I'm very happy about that. It says to Jahar, thank you for the support. Squeak on, DA Power. So yeah, and I was pleasantly surprised because, like I said, this isn't what I normally read. Um, I do like middle grade, but a lot of times it's middle grade fantasy. And this is about a girl who finds a mouse and she can talk to the mouse, and but she's the only one. And then she has these group of friends, these four of her friends. Then she also has some bullies. There's these girls that are mean, but they're kind of minor characters. Then there's these three bullies. I forgot what they called them. It's been a minutes since I read this book, but and there was this awesome scene near the end where the bullies stole the mouse and then they had to defeat to attack the bullies. It was just an awesome scene. But I actually really enjoyed this book. I rated it 5 stars. It was really cute, really cool, and I was not expecting to enjoy it as much as I did. And yeah, so I definitely very enjoyed this book. I would highly recommend it, especially if you just want a cute, cuddly, easy read. I definitely think this one will be for you. Um, I don't shut up again. Okay. Question 7 is favorite new author, debut or new to you? Well, all these authors are new to me. So this is her first book, so and she is a fantastic writer. Um, trying to think. So yeah, this was her first book. I think this was her first book as well. I think Warriors of Bria was her first book as well, and I think that A Daughter's Ransom was their first book as well. So I think a lot of these were like debut books, but they're parts of series. So um, yeah. But yeah, so all these, even if they're not debut, they're all still new to me, and they all have been fantastic so far. Fantastic writing, fantastic stories, fantastic characters, relationships, everything, and I'm very excited to continue my spree of indie books. Um, because this month is nothing but indie books. Next month will be a lot of indie books, so there will be two that won't be indie books, just because I think it's next month. I'm supposed to be better reading these two books with a friend, so and they're not indie, so um yeah. And then question 8. Newest fictional crush. Newest fictional crush. I'm probably going to have to go with Scarlett. I absolutely loved her character, and she was just so sassy and fierce, and she was like, this is who I am, and I really don't care if you don't like it, because she was forced to go into this town, which is kind of a cult. I'm not gonna lie, it's kind of a cult. And um she's a witch, so her uncle, who's a priest, constantly like sprays holy water and stuff on her, and is constantly trying to tear her down. Um, and a lot of people in the town, not everyone, but a lot of people, um, think something's wrong with her, and that's why she gets along with Eli so much, because a lot of people think something's wrong with him too, because he's gay, and it's this very small conservative town, so that's not exactly okay. So they were both kind of isolated in the town, and they became friends. And yeah, but I love Eli too. Um, and if I was straight, he'd probably be my crush, but I'm not, and I just absolutely loved Scarlett. I love everything about her, her personality, her sassiness, her fierceness, how she's not afraid to be who she is, how she constantly tells off her uncle in front of the entire town, completely embarrassing him, and not letting anyone get to her, no matter how hard it can be. And yeah, I just absolutely loved everything about her character, and yeah, I have a special place in my heart for Scarlett. She was just absolutely amazing. My phone keeps shutting off. Okay, question 9. Newest favorite character. Huh. This is hard because I have a lot of new favorite characters that I absolutely love. Um, well, Scarlett and Eli are definitely amazing characters, and they're probably favorites of mine. And so is Lauren and Val. Um, and I'll say Leaf. There's like three main characters, and Leaf is one of them. And I absolutely liked her. She was definitely my favorite out of three. And yeah, I absolutely loved her character. Um, let's see. Now, next is question 10, book that made you cry. Well, I already said that the Mantis variant made me cry. Um, actually, I don't think I mentioned that. I mentioned how heartbreaking the death was. My favorite character's death was, but obviously, since it was heartbreaking, I cried a lot. It was so upsetting because I loved her so much. She was just so sweet, and it's like she had this terrible background, and um, the first chapter was just horrifying. I mean, yeah, it was very gory, but that's not why it was horrifying. It was horrifying because what they did to her. It was kind of psychological torture, and but she's just so sweet, and she tried so hard to figure out who she was and find out where she belonged. That wasn't well, she was kind of from a cult. It's even mentioned that it's a cult, like it's a cult, and there's a lot of people that when they found out where she's from didn't like her, trust her at first or whatever. But she constantly proved to be better than where she's from, constantly helping people, even when other people didn't think it was a good idea because they didn't want to bring attention to themselves or they didn't want to risk themselves or whatever. She was like, I have to help this person, I have to help this person. She helped Lahari a lot. She saved a whole bunch of people that hated her for being part of this cult, and that's how she died to save these people. And she just has such a good and pure heart. And yeah, so I definitely cried because I love this character so much. Um, question 11, book that made you happy. Um, I mean, all these books had happy moments. Don't get me wrong. I absolutely love them. I know I got extremely happy in book 4 of this series when Lauren and Val finally kissed. Though it was kind of short-lived, long story. Um, And every time Scarlett or went off on her uncle or Eli went off on his family, I got so happy. I was like, you go, girl, you go, boy, do it." And then I got very happy when Celeste and her friends finally kicked the crap out of these bullies. That was very satisfying. So um, yeah, there was a lot of moments that in these books that made me very very happy. Um, Question 12. Most beautiful book you bought so far this year or received? Um, I don't really focus on covers. I mean, most of the time I don't even um I'm one of the few people that probably actually don't buy a book based on the cover. I only care about what the summary says, to be honest. Um, But I do really love this cover. I think it's really pretty with like Scarlet in the shadow and all these fires. The second one's nice too. It's out there though, and it has Hunter as the shadowy figure with smoke behind him. So yeah, those covers are really nice. Question 13. What books do you need to read by the end of the year? Well, I have a bunch of indie books I want to read. The ones that I'm most excited for, most definitely want to read, are the ones I plan to read this month, which would be books 2 and 3 of the Mantis variant, King's Rise, which I also have an art copy of, and then um, as I said, this is one of my most anticipated books of the year. So, okay. um, and what else? I'm trying to find my books that I received. These I'm better reading. I was gifted them, and I did not expect to get this one or this one, though I actually own this one. It's Once Upon a Time. I love Once Upon a Time. Um, but I didn't know I was just gonna receive this. It's from a booktube friend. Jessica from Lady Loves to Read. Definitely check her out if you haven't yet. She's an amazing booktuber, amazing person, amazing friend. And I know she asked me if I wanted her to send this because she was going to get rid of it, unhaul it. And I was like, sure, it looks good. It's fantasy middle grade. But I was not expecting to receive this or the other book. The other book I do own. Though my copy's kind of not in perfect condition anymore because of the fire. So now I have a newer, better condition. This book, I have seen the cover of it before because my best friend owns this book, and I've seen it with her books before. Um, but yeah, so I'm better reading both of these with my friend Lucy um, because she loves fantasy middle grade and she loves mermaids. So we're gonna better read them together. I think next month. So yeah, um, I definitely want to read those. There's a lot more indie books that I want to read now that I have KU. If they're on KU, I would love to read books 4 and the prequel of this if I can get hold of them. And um, there was another book. Oh, I also wanted to read Moonshadow's Guardian, but that's not on KU either. But there's a bunch of books I found on KU that I am excited to read, and I do hope to get to soon. So hopefully I can read them all this month. Not this month, this year. Um, and yeah, there's books on my TV, my physical TBR. I probably should read as well, which hopefully I'll get to. Um, so yeah, I have to finish the. I want to finish what's it called? The School for Good and Evil. I read book one, but then I got sidetracked with other books, and I haven't started book two, which isn't like me. Usually, when I read a series, I read the entire series at once, back to back. But I just didn't, and I still need to read book two and three. I know there's 6 books, but I don't own books 4 to 6 yet. Yeah. So I want to read books two and three. Maybe I can find books 4 to 6 on KU. If not, then hopefully I can buy them. But it may not be this year. Depends. We'll see. But yeah. So that is my mid-year freakout tag. Please like and subscribe and comment if you read any of these. If you want to read any of these, I definitely highly recommend them. I'm mostly ranting about indie books because right now that is my biggest obsession, indie books. So definitely read indie books. These ones I've mentioned are amazing and I definitely highly recommend. Until next time.